Good morning. Welcome to Ask Coffee Online. I'm Chef Caesar. Today I'm going to show you how to make a wonderful spinach and artichoke dip. But before I get to that, I want to talk about our new features in our new live stream dashboard. As you can see, you still have the chat box to the right of the live stream dashboard. And now to submit your questions, go to underneath the live stream dashboard. There's where you can type your questions. Also, you can find the webinar archives in the same place, and we have the new schedule as well that you can check out for the upcoming events. And also you can follow us on Twitter, and if you have any trouble with any problems, you can go to the troubleshooting instructions at the bottom of the page. Well, now that you guys can see this, I hope everything is going okay for you guys. If you have any issues, let us know, but I hope you enjoy this new dashboard. And now let's get started with our nice artichoke and spinach dip. I'm sure you guys have seen this, sometimes, most of the times you guys go to a restaurant, you see, spinach and artichoke dip, but if you ever wonder how it gets done, well, it's very simple. Today I'm going to start with, I have my mince here set up, ready to go. It's like I was mentioned, it's very important to have everything ready before you start, any cooking process. And I have my chopped onions, my garlic, my spinach, all my ingredients I'm going to be using. I'm going to start by sweating some onions. I'm going to stir my little stove on here, put some of my whole butter in there. And you will see, you can always, I'm using some frozen spinach today. You can also always use fresh. It's great, but make sure you saute the spinach beforehand because you want to drain all the liquid out of there. Otherwise, you're going to end up with some green looking spinach dip. This one, I still have to, drain the water. I'm going to, when I get to the point, I'm going to show you. It's really easy to do. I'm going to start with melting my whole butter here. So you're going to see this is a very simple recipe to make, nice and tasty. You can use this, an appetizer. And also, you can, serve it cold or warm. Myself, I prefer it to be warm, with some, tortilla chips. You can do some toasted, bread, whatever. It's a lot of, different ways you can serve the spinach dip. So we're gonna not caramelize, just saute my onions until it's translucent. You don't want to, brown too much. So I'm gonna crank the heat up a little bit here in my pot. And you're gonna be able to find the recipe as well too. I always give the recipe so you guys can try to make this at home. And it's just a wonderful, easy dish to make. And again, makes a nice appetizer. Also, I've done this before. If you cook a nice chicken breast, you can use it as a topping. You put some spinach dip on top, and you can bake it with some melted cheese. It makes a really nice addition to just a boring chicken breast. So it's so many different things you can do with this. So I got my onions sauteing here. Next, I got some chopped garlic, real fine. I'm gonna cook my garlic until it's nice and translucent. You don't want to burn it either because it's gonna give a bitter taste. Be careful not to burn your garlic when you're sauteing it. And feel free to ask questions along the way, okay? I'm gonna be adding a little bit of flour to make a roux. This is gonna, help us thicken up our spinach dip. When you make a roux, remember you always gotta use equal parts flour to butter. If you gotta measure it, butter and flour. Make sure it's if you use 2 ounces of butter, make sure you use 2 ounces of flour. That's the ratio that you use to make a roux. And you don't want to brown this too much. You want to make a blonde roux. Make sure you don't burn it. And make sure it's cooking up, so you don't want to taste, a floury taste in your dip. So make sure you cook it for a couple minutes, but you don't want to get it too brown either. As you can see, it's looking nice. Once you have all your ingredients prepared, ready to go, the cooking process is really simple. So, I always recommend to make sure you got everything ready before you start any cooking, because it makes it, makes it so easy. You don't want to stop in between and kind of go back and start chopping garlic, or, finding something you don't have ready to go. You might have to go to the store, so you don't want to get to that, point. Now we're going to add some of my chicken stock here. We're making a type of baluta here, with chicken stock and the flour, but now we're adding some garlic and some onions here. Make sure that we mix it in so we break all the lumps in the flour. It's nice and smooth. I'm just gonna start to, thicken up right now. We're gonna add some cream in a little bit. Just wanna start to, as you can see, it's getting thick. Oh, it smells great. Now I wanna add some of my heavy cream. If you want, you can always use milk. If you wanna kind of cut down some of the calories, that's, feel free. But cream makes a nice creamy dip, because we're also going to be using some cream cheese, so you can again find a low-fat cream cheese if you like to go a little more the healthy way, let's put it that way, and use some milk as well. We want to cook this for a little bit, let it come to a boil. Make sure you keep mixing, because the cream, if you don't stir, it might burn. Just be careful with that. Now, like I was saying before, our spinach is already, I got some frozen spinach in the package, but as you can see, it's got a lot of liquid here. If you add it like this to your dip, it's gonna become really green. So we want to drain some of this liquid from here. All you do, you want to put it in a strainer. You see? And it might, get too runny too, so you don't want that. You want to drain all the water from the spinach. You want to have it nice and dry. Of course, you're going to get some moisture left in the spinach. It's really hard to take everything out, but, try to get as much as you can out of there. As you can see, it's really green. So if you add this to your dip is going to become really, greens, and you don't want that. You just want to have a nice... You can see there's a lot of liquid in here. So we want to try to squeeze as much as we can out of here. Okay, put it back in my bowl here. I'm going to take this out of the way. As you can see, it's starting to boil here. You want to cook this a little bit. You can also bake this if you want to, have it ready. Put everything in here, throw in the oven, so you get a nice crispy top. You can do that too. And then you can also put some cheese on top, so it gets nice and brown. Or you can do it under the salamander as well. Before you're gonna serve this, put some parmesan cheese. Get a nice and brown top. Makes a nice presentation as well. Now this is starting to boil a little bit. We're gonna add some of our cream cheese here. I cut it in a little, about 1-inch piece. We want to throw it in a little bit at a time. I'm gonna turn the flame down a little bit here. If you cut it in little pieces, it makes it easy to mix, and you want to incorporate all the cheese and make sure it's nice and melted, which will melt really quick because this is hot, so it's just gonna melt like butter in there. I'm gonna add the rest of the cheese now. Keep mixing in here so it dissolve all the cream cheese in there, incorporate it really well. As you can see, it's very easy to do. And make sure you mix it really well. There's little like white spots you can see where the cheese is. You don't want to have any of that. You want to kind of have a real nice smooth mixture when you're done mixing the cheese in there. Same thing when you add the Parmesan cheese that we're going to be doing next. I want to cook this for a little bit. As you can see, it's very nice and smooth now. I've broken down all the cheese. The little lumps it is from the onions and the garlic is not cheese anymore because the cheese looks really white. You will see if you make it, but then it's going to start to like melt in there and it's going to be mixed really nice. I'm going to let it boil for a little bit. Then we're going to start adding some of our Parmesan cheese here. You want to add a little bit at a time. You don't want to add the whole thing at once. Down a little bit. I'm gonna add a little more in a little bit. Now I have my artichoke hearts here. I got some quarter artichokes. We want to chop them up. You don't want to put them whole like this because it would be too big. So we want to kind of cut them up before they go in there. And these are going to go at the end. We don't want to put them in right now because they're already cooked. So you don't want them to break down. So we're going to kind of roughly chop. I think we have a question over here with some one of our students.
Actually, I have two questions. Can you use fresh spinach? And also, at what temperature do you melt the cheese at?
Okay, we have two questions. One is that can we use fresh spinach? And the second one was, at what temperature do we melt the cheese? Yes, you can use fresh spinach, but make sure you saute the spinach beforehand. You want to chop it up, saute it in some olive oil, a little garlic, and then you want to drain the water to the liquid like I saw me do a little while ago. And when we talk about melting the cheese, you know, if you use a salamander, you know, it's going to be on high. But if you use, you know, the oven to like bake it, you can do it at 400, you know. That way it bakes quick and you're going to get a nice crisp top, you know, and on your dish, you know, make sure you use a oven-proof dish. And you can sprinkle some Parmesan cheese on the top and then bake it. So it looks really nice when you do it that way. So you want to rough chop this as artichokes. So I'm doing here right now. Okay. Now we want to add the rest of the cheese to my mix over here. As you can see, it's getting thicker with the cheese as well too. So. I want to add some black pepper to my just a little bit salt here because the cheese is very salty, so you want to taste it before we put too much salt in there. It becomes too salty. Okay. I'm gonna make sure that all the cheese is melted. There's no lumps. You want to end up with a nice smooth dip. You don't want to have a lumpy dip, so you have to make sure it looks like this. Now we're gonna start adding some of my spinach. I believe I have another question over here with one of my students.
Two more. Where can we find the written recipe, and what are you making?
Which recipe are you talking about?
Yeah, where can they find the recipe, and what are you making?
Okay, they say where can they find the recipe for this, and what am I making? I'm making a spinach dip right now, and the recipe you're gonna find it with the video. It's gonna be posted up there once we're done, and it's got instructions, all the ingredients, and I'm making a spinach and artichoke dip. As you can see, it's nice and white. If I would have added all the liquid in there, it would have turned green, so you don't want to do that. Make sure you break all the spinach. Do you guys have any more questions out there for me? As you can see, it's nice and smooth. Want to let it cook a little more. Use my wooden spoon now, because the spinach kind of gets entangled into the whisk wire, so it would be easy to use a wooden spoon from now on, or a regular metal spoon will be fine. Want to cook a little more before we add the artichokes. And before I'm done here, I want to mention it to you guys. If any of you have picked your mystery basket for this month contest, it's great. If you guys go to our site, you get there's 4 different baskets you can choose from, and each one has 4 ingredients that you must use in a recipe you have to create. The rules are, you have to use those 4 ingredients, plus you can add any ingredients you want. You can make a dessert, an appetizer, salad, or an entree. And the thing is, you have to submit a recipe. Also, you need to send 2 photos. One will be your mise en place, and the last one will be like your finished product. And the thing is, you guys are going to be the judges. We're not going to judge this contest. The students are going to be judging your creation. So make sure you guys go to the, this month's contest, pick a basket. You'll have a lot of time to do it, and have fun. It's exciting. So you guys are going to do a great job. I know, firsthand, because you guys do an excellent job already. So try to get into the contest and have a lot of fun. Okay. Now we can add our artichokes in here. You can see it. Use my hands real quick. As you can see, it's really simple to create one of this recipe. Like I said before, once you have all your ingredients set up, prepared, the cooking process is really quick. So, and now we just want to cook a little bit more. Want to taste to see if it has enough salt. And it does. It tastes great. Do you guys have any more questions for me out there? I'm gonna get a spoon. I'm gonna cut some of this nice tomato just to garnish my spinach dip. You wanna give her some nice color on top. Now our spinach dip looks like it's done. And you can save this, cool it off and use it next day. It's gonna taste even much better the next day, like I said before, the flavors are gonna come together and you can refrigerate this for, 2-3 days. And make sure you cool it off before you put it away. We have another question here, I believe.
Can you serve the dip cold as well as hot?
The question was, can you serve the dip cold as well as hot? The answer is yes. Like I was saying before, you can do this dip cold. It's gonna be great. But I prefer it warm, but it's just up to you. But you can always use it cold with some chips, some crispy, wafers, or little toast points, or some crackers. There's so many different ways you can use this. So yes, you can do either or. And now our spinach dip is ready to be served. I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna put some in this little nice bowl. Get a bigger spoon to serve it here. And when it gets cold, it's going to get a little thicker. Just keep in mind. Now it's really hot. It's kind of, looks a little runny. So, edge of the bowl. Make sure it's nice and clean. As you can see there, a little some color to the top, presentation. Now I'm gonna add some blue corn tortilla chips. And you can do whatever you like, I'm just giving you an idea, these chips are wonderful. I love blue corn. As you can see, it was very easy to do. There you go, nice and tasty spinach dip. Well, you know what? Thank you for being here this morning. I really enjoy doing this, and I hope I get to see you next week with some another wonderful recipe I'll be making.